Now, according to Kenneth Uday, Special Assistant and Media to Senator Ojikalo, the Senate may have resolved to pass the 500 billion naira intervention fund requested by President Muhammadu Buhari to settle expenses relating to the COVID-19 pandemic. Consequently, the upper legislative resumed plenary today to address the issue. Now, aside the deliberation of the 500 billion naira fund, the lawmakers were also supposed to consider President Muhammadu Buhari's request for the downward review of the 10.594 trillion naira 2020 budget in view of the precipitous fall in the price of crude oil at the international market. However, the members of the press were left standing outside the National Assembly complex while the Senate plenary was in progress. So much for freedom of information. Why leave the press outside? What could be the reason? You know, there have been talks and shouts and agitations. People have been complaining. I'm talking about from different quarters of how no proper accountability framework has been put in place with regards, rendering accounts as to how most of these funds that have been donated to the federal government towards the fight against COVID-19 are being spent. Now, I also have information that there have been also no accountability mechanism put in place. I mean, accounts have not been properly rendered with regards to emergency funds. I'm speaking about funds that have been disbursed to NEMA. Speaking about emergency management, NEMA. When I say NEMA, I'm actually referring to the National Emergency Management Agency right here in the country. So since 2012, I've been made to believe, since 2012, there has been nothing like accountability with regards all of the funds that have been disbursed towards containing floods, erosions, all of the natural disasters that have occurred right here in the country since 2012. And then right now, I'm telling you right now that there is no categorically there is no framework. There is no accountability framework put in place, to audit the expenditure of the concerned bodies with regards all of these funds that have been donated. All of these funds donated by well-meaning Nigerians, public-spirited individuals, agencies, establishments, banks, all of those funds. And then we had the Minister for Humanitarian and Disaster Management come forward the other day to say, so far the federal government has spent nothing less than 67 billion naira in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm like, what exactly is she saying? Now, if you do not have, if you cannot put forward a proper documented framework with regards spendings, expenditure, I spent this for this, this was disbursed for this is how this was spent. How then do you come to the conclusion that the federal government so far has spent up to about 67 billion naira? What have these monies been spent for? What have they been spent for? Okay, I'll take you over to a couple of days ago, of course. In measures to curb the spread of coronavirus in Rivers State, we heard that the state governor, Governor Nyesom Wike, ordered the immediate deportation of Almajiris and other street beggars from the state with immediate effect. He gave the order on Monday in a statewide broadcast on COVID-19. He said it became necessary to deport the Almajiris because of the dimension COVID-19 is beginning to take in the country. The governor also announced a 24-hour total lockdown in parts of Obiakpo and Port Harcourt City, blah, 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 all of that. We know about that. But I'm being particular right now about the deportation of the Almajiris. Now, so many people came forward to, criticize, to say, well, why single out the Almajiris? Of course, it wasn't just the Almajiris, other beggars, other street beggars and urchins, so to speak, were pinpointed, were fingered by the governor. Now, I also like for you to know that the Jigawa state government has received a total number of 76 Almajiri pupils who were evacuated from neighboring Gombe state. So apparently, this is not a regional thing. It has nothing to do with region or religion, like most people are tilting it towards. Even up north, the Almajiris are being deported to their home states. I just told you that Jigawa state government received a total of 76 Almajiri pupils evacuated from the neighboring Gombe state, as it also rejected 7 out of the total number, leaving a total returnees of 69. Now, the Secretary Task Force on COVID-19 and Permanent Secretary Ministry of Health, Dr. Salisu Muazu, while receiving the Almajiris at NYSC orientation camp Fani Sal in Dutse, said the returnees Almajiris would undergo medical screening for 2 weeks and other necessary investigation before handover to their respective parents. Dr. Salisu Muazu explained that they will join their other colleagues returned from Kano State last week, and said accommodation and other necessary basic needs will be provided for them to stay comfortably until after they will be declared safe to reunite with their parents. Now, it might interest you to know that there are people who think that there are political undertones as regards the deportation of the Almajiris. There are people who think there are religious undertones. There are people who think there are tribal undertones with regards to the deportation of Almajiris. So I'd love to have your opinion tonight. I'd love to have your opinion. What do you think? What's your thought? Or do you think it's the way to go, considering the fact that, okay, you just heard that it's not something that is just peculiar to the Rivers State government. I mean, even up north, we have other northern states deport most of these Almajiris. What's your take on this? What exactly do you make of this particular move? Is it in any way linked directly to the coronavirus pandemic? Do you think chances of spread would be more if we still have these people around? Now, let me relate that to an unfolding event in Kano State. Kano State, which is rather unpleasant. Now, the Muslim rights concern, Murik, we all know Murik, has given a rather ridiculous interpretation to the unfolding tragedy in Kano, suggesting that the unusual death toll in the northwestern state could be a deliberate attempt at decimating the population of Muslims in Nigeria. Can you imagine? Now, Kano State has seen a spike in mystery deaths in 1 week, and all of this is amidst the COVID-19 threats. Now, with scant resources nationally and low capacity to test, authorities are yet to determine if COVID-19 caused the deaths. Meanwhile, we had the Ministry of Health in Kano State come forward to say, well, all of those deaths, and when I'm speaking about these deaths now, I'm talking about nothing less than 600 and something people dropped dead within the space of 48 hours in one state. 600 and something people. And then the Ministry of Health in Kano came forward to say, well, after a careful investigation, we have come forward to say that all of those deaths are not in any way related to COVID-19. Rather, those deaths are as a result of, what's it called now? Meningitis, hypertension, acute malaria, and the rest of it. And I'm just sitting here and wondering, how much sense that makes. I'm just wondering. And so you have Muri come forward to say that it's a deliberate attempt at decimating the population of Muslims in Nigeria. In a statement, Murik director Ishak Akintola lamented the unusual deaths, saying that Kano needed help urgently, and then surprisingly brought a religious angle to the matter, warning of a threat to the majority status Nigerian Muslims enjoy in the area of demography. Now, more disturbing is the rumor that the National Center for Disease Control, NCDC, in the state locked up its offices and its officials are not responding to distress calls. That's according to Murik. He also went ahead to say, and I quote, the only testing center in Kano, which is situated at the Aminu Kano Teaching Hospital, has also been allegedly locked up. So where did NCDC get its figures on Kano? Something is fishy here. We are surprised that testing centers are non-existent in the country. And then the group also goes ahead to frown about the deportations of the Almajiris. Goes ahead to frown about the deportation of the Almajiris. So this is one group trying to, religionize all of this. Trying to tilt it towards a very dangerous religious angle. I really would love to get your thoughts on all of these issues that I have laid bare right here on the table.
Hello?
I can hear you.
Okwandu.
Okwandu, good to have you on the show. Go ahead.
My brother, I want to tell you that unfortunately that governors of some states are sending back the Almajiris back to their states. I think not a welcome development. Even here in River State, some time ago, the governor came out and told us that River State is a Christian state. But now, the Almajiris that are less privileged, unfortunate people, send them back to their village. I think that is unchristian. The Bible has told us to help people in need, to help people that are below in the society. I think that sending these Almajiris back to their faith is not a good one.
So if you're saying, Okwandu, if you're saying that is unchristian, then what would you say about the northern states, where you have other northern states deporting these same Almajiris to their various states of origin?
I first told you that it is not a good one, whether it is happening in the north or south or west. But I am telling you from a reference state here in River State, where I stay, and where the governor have made the world to know that River State is a Christian state. I think it is not a good one. It is very, very unfortunate.
All right.
Since yesterday that I heard it, I have not been happy. I have enough resources. I'll go to the street and please visit Almajiris and start taking care of them. Because that is what the Bible requires of us. And finally, my brother, on what Muri said, it's very, very surprising. I am highly disappointed in Muri, headed by a Professor Ishak Oloibe. I am highly surprised that despite this man's academic prowess, that he will come and tell us this kind of a jargon. Not the truth of the matter. Then who is now trying to decimate the population of the Muslims? I think that is false. It is not acceptable, my brother.
All right. Thank you very much, Okwandu, for calling in. 95.1 FM. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening.
I greet you.
Yeah, okay. Good evening. My name is Chris. I'm calling from Port Harcourt.
All right. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, let me, on the side of Almajiri and the returning them back to where they come from. This thing is not something we need to play politics. See, those guys, they have home. They know where they came from. If it were maybe when some people say they are causing public nuisance or something like that. But this one, It's not acceptable. And it's not Governor Newsom Wike as the first governor that started this. Their own people is or even acknowledge that what those guys are doing. You cannot just put children without taking care of them. And you push it out to where it's not going anywhere. Let them return back to their destiny. More especially this time of COVID-19 now, nobody knows. What of maybe the people that you say everybody should go inside house and those ones are outside. What of if they maybe they are infected, they are later now, everything will come normal and nobody will take care of them. That place there, nobody is taking care. And those people that, let me tell you something, that thing is business. Let me tell you, those are Majiri. People are coming there to collect money from them and go back to the north. Let me not tell you. I'm not telling you what I don't know.
Have you seen Chris?
Yes, I say people. I know what I'm saying. You know, those ones are the positions. People used to come there and check them. How much have you made? They collect money from them and return back to. Leave all those things. What do you think that making those guys every day they are begging? Does it mean that even the ones that have two hands that can walk? Let them go and look for something and do. Pure water, is it not some other people are holding it? Every day, give me this. It's not good. And sometimes if you didn't give them, they grow angry. The way those boys they are broadening them up on the street, it's not good. That is time bomb.
All right.
It's a good thing. Let them, all those are large, let them take them one, and keep them and start feeding them. It would be okay than leaving them on the street where rain fall, everything.
Okay, I'll have your thoughts on that, Chris. I'll have your thoughts on that.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. 95.1 FM. Good evening. Hello. Oh, good evening, Pastor Isaiah. Welcome to the show.
Yes, my brother. Let me first of all congratulate the Delta State for his magnanimity in understanding the plight of the Delta state. He has done excellently and perfectly well. I think their governance to and then governance, because I am telling you that don't have a very high fatality rate and you are constantly now die of hunger. But people have told you, instead of they prefer dying for hunger than dying for corona. And then you are now taking everything, look at you are taking care of it. That is unfortunate. So people should go and learn governance in Delta State. The man, look at him, see as a very man who understands the Western world, the life in the Western world. And let me also tell you that those sudden deaths you are experiencing in Kano, of course, know that the North have the sort of disease. People should not be surprised. You understand? It's not the for a surprise.
All right.
Sickness in the North. And let me come to the Almajiri, my brother. I am very
now that your time is up, that's when you're delving into the topic of discourse.
Wait, let me just talk. The Almajiri is my brother. You see, so everybody, let me tell you, that thing that they also is repatriating them. And
not just Gombe, every other northern state.
See, let me tell you, if in politics in Nigeria, they always use human figure as a sacrificial lamb to achieve whatever they want. That is why you see that in our elections, they see people die massively and all of that.
So what exactly is your point? Just make your point. Because
what I'm trying to say is that it's very unfortunate for you to bring ethnic and religious this thing. If Almajiri is a race,
all right,
I think these people's strength in the north would have been in that race.
Okay.
It's never a race, but our issues today, they are just put out of the state as if they are not Nigeria. God is possible.
All right, thank you very much, Pastor Isaiah. 95.1 FM. Good evening. Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is George.
Welcome, Judge. Go ahead.
Yeah, Cocoa Bread. I think the governor of the state, whatever decision that is now, I think it is really a weapon.
Okay.
I also want to say that because this COVID-19 that is ravaging the world should not be used as a political related. It's something that whatever measure that the government is taking in place, I think so many people that it is not far from the governor, state and other things. The returning that is coming that the federal government have already prepared for is a measure that the WHO have already prescribed and follow this procedure. Also understand me. So they know more than us and they know how to make sure that this COVID-19 is of the past. So I think for taking them back to where they are from, so that they will not cause panic to the place or cause down to the place. I think the zero state should also accept it and also say that the weapon development from the government. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. 95.1 FM. Good evening. Okay, I guess I lost that one. The phone lines are still very much open, and just in case you're wondering how exactly to be part of the show, the numbers to call are 0817 00 951. And you can also call 0810951091. I brought to you the fact that certain quarters are trying to politicize, religionize the deportation of Almajiris from River State and from other parts of the country. And then Murik has come forward to say, well, all of the deaths in Kano State is a deliberate attempt to cut down on the Muslim population in the country. What exactly do you make of all of this? In a bit, our SMS and WhatsApp portals are going to be up and running, so you can send messages to 0701 9339 962. That's 0701 9339 962. Good evening, 95.1 FM.
Good evening, my brother, man. Yes, I remain good news from Port Harcourt.
Welcome, good news. Go ahead.
I think Murik is not being sincere to themselves.
Okay.
Is they are saying that the deportation of Almajiris is political. Is what do you say they are looking? Then those ones, Almajiris are seen in Katsina, they are seen in Kano, they are seen in Borno, they are seen in the northwest.
And of course, they are being deported from these other states to their various states of origin.
Exactly. They are being deported from Kano to Katsina. The ones in Katsina to Kano, the ones in Borno to the ones in Adamawa to Yobe, the ones in Yobe. Then is it the ones that they brought from Rivers? They deported from Rivers State, so they own that to the problem. I think they are not being sincere to themselves. You know, this is part of the reason. This coronavirus thing should be this coronavirus thing will press the reset button of Nigeria, so that everybody will understand the nitty-gritty, the problem they've caused for themselves, caused either by religion or by tribal sentiment. Not even just political, because most of the problem in Nigeria is religion or tribal sentiment. Now, look at it from this way, my brother, man. Look at it from this way. That you have the kind of tradition that when you give birth to a female, you will keep her close to you. But when you give birth to a male, once he starts sleeping or walking or gets to 2 years, he look a rubber and send that male child away. And that male child will struggle and join allergies and grow. And some of them will become human beings. But because they have a kind of religion, instead of them to change it, they continue in that trend. I think this COVID-19 should reset many things that has gone wrong in Nigeria, from the tradition sector to the tribal sector to the religion sector. For what Morik is saying, I think they are not sincere to themselves. Look, are they happy that most of the Northerners, their major work is just pure begging? They litter the streets. They drag you in the clothes. Look at they send two children of 4, 5 years, 3 years. As you move on the road in districts of Port Harcourt, they come and draw your clothes. They beg you for 10 and 5 naira. Their mother and their parents, their father will sit down and be eating, and they'll be smiling, and they will just be giving birth anyhow. Is that how Nigeria should grow? I think the Murik doesn't want to tell themselves the truth.
All right. Thank you very much.
That was
Thank you so very much. I'll have to let you go. 95.1 FM. Good evening.
Hello, Coco. Good evening.
I greet you.
Yeah, Ken from Port Harcourt.
Welcome, Ken. Go ahead.
Thank you, my brother. I have been listening to the program that is going on about the Almajiri. Like my brother, good news you have just said. Today I was just joy is just like a river in my mind now when I heard about what good news was just saying. And like all I know is somebody has his own opinion. But my brother, it's high time we tell ourselves, dude, how can you, even you, Coco, can you be able to do that? Just give birth to a child and allow him to be going to go and beg for what? Is it possible to just bring a child into this world and allow him going from one state to another state to go and beg? And somebody was saying if you had even.
Well, it's a religious practice. It's sort of.
Religious practice.
It's a religious practice. I mean, all of those. The stuffs they collect from people, the alms that people give out to them are supposed to be taken to the poor, taken to the needy, and all of that. That's as much as I know anyway.
Oh my goodness! And where does it take us to? My brother, where does it take us to? This rubbish should stop. If they want to continue in something of that nature, that is not our own tradition here. So they should do it within their own site.
All right.
You cannot allow your child to come out to the street and start begging like somebody who don't have a place where he come from, and he has a father, he has a mother. And somebody was telling me that if had he been, he have, why not go there, collect about 10 or 15 alamajiri and come and keep in his house and continue feeding them, since he wants to run charity organization. Let's stop all this nonsense and move on.
Thank you very much.
Think like a human being.
Thank you so very much for calling in. The text message portals and WhatsApp portals are up and running right now, so you can send those messages in 0701 9339 962. That is 0701 9339 962. 95.1 FM. Good evening.
Hello, 95.1.
Hello?
Good evening. Yes.
Yeah, what's your name and location? You're tuned on to Opinion Poll. All right, welcome, Kennedy. Go ahead.
Yes, the decision by the state governor Rivers is very, very good. By the person of the Amajiri. Yes, the reason be that, as this coronavirus is everywhere now, there's some level of money that has been amounted for the fight against this COVID-19. And we are talking about palliative. You know, when all these people came out to Rivers State, people were like directly criticizing the state government, whereby they want him to use the little money he has to manage the whole clan. These people are 30% clad in Rivers State. Didn't you know? Because these people are everywhere in Rivers State, and there is no way to manage. They don't know the you have had. They don't rent house in Port Harcourt. They don't pay bill, nothing. So it's as if they are constituting more class. And at this point in time, the state government has to deploy the government of their state can take care of them in both the palliative, healthcare, and whatever. They should know their home in case of anything. So the decision by the state government is very, very takeable. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. 95.1 FM. Good evening.
Coco.
I greet you.
Good evening.
Okidin.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, Okidin Jr. Go ahead.
Thank you. Sending the Amajiris back, I don't think is a bad thing. You know that the business they do is a very lucrative business in River State because of our kind nature. We used to show kindness to people. But at this point in time, there is no longer business. because people are struggling to eat. So I don't think that business will be lucrative any longer. And for them not to stay back and turn to nuisance and turn to another thing, I think the best thing is what Rivers State government has done. We should help them and send them to their various states so that they can reunite with their families and the families will help them as well. Now, coming to the report that there is a deliberate ploy to reduce the population of the North, I ask a question, by who?
I wonder. I've been asking the same question. I've been asking the exact same question all evening.
Are they accusing the traditionalists? Are they accusing the politicians? Are they accusing God? Or they are accusing Jesus Christ himself? Coco?
Go ahead.
I condemn that report. The people involved should look for what is killing them. In as much as we are sad about the killing, about the death, everybody is sad, everybody is concerned. We want to know what is happening. We should find out.
All right.
You should not come up to say,
all right. Thank you very much. I'll have to let you go. Thank you so much. Thank you for your contribution on the program. 95.1 FM. Good evening.
Hello, Mr. Craig.
Hello, Mr. Sam.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Craig.
I greet you.
Yeah, thank you, my brother. Mr. Greg, you see, these our legislators, they are at it again. Why would they shut the chamber and be inside doing things in the secret? Mr. Kegre, something is on the ground. There is some colors of water that is about to flow under the bridge.
You can say that again and again.
We need to set our searchlight, pin it on them now, because these men, I don't trust them. This legislator, they have been collecting 13 billion based on what Shehu Sani came out to tell us that is not part of their salary. And now and again, they are quick in as much as they are talking about this loan.
Hello, Mr. Sam, you there? Okay, I guess I lost you right there. I'm just going to go over to the message portals and take some very quick ones. The humanitarian minister, what is she saying? The federal government has spent such amount of money to fight COVID-19. Our health sector is still in shambles. That woman should stop lying. As regards to COVID-19, the Minister of Health should resign. This government should stop deceiving themselves. Thank God, after this pandemic, I'm going back to China. Although God bless Nigeria. But finally, NCDC Director General should resign. You didn't state your name or where it is you texted from. My name is Imam Agbam from Mbaiche in Rivers State. In line with this statement of Minister for Disaster and Management, saying that the federal government has spent 60-something billion naira in respect of COVID-19, such thing is unfortunate. Look at the rate of hunger and unemployment across the nation. It's totally unfortunate. Thank you, Imaman, for sending that one in. The River State governor plays politics with everything. He should allow the Almajiris to stay. They are the people that brought COVID. Are they the people that brought COVID-19? Smart from Iguruta. This one says, Coleman from Iguruta sent this one. All this lockdown thing should stop. Obviously, it has yielded little or no positive result. Time they allow people to go out hustle. Instead, people should on their own observe personal hygiene while we all wait for the coronavirus vaccine. People are suffering. Coleman sent that one in from Iguruta. I am Madison from Tai. The National Assembly has nothing to offer Nigerians. They sat today to agree on loan package. They are not representing us at all, rather for their selfish aims. Koko Buhari is not fighting corruption. 67 billion naira has been spent fighting COVID-19 and press disallowed entry in Senate sitting. Buhari is the worst president Nigeria has ever had. Style from Rumo Parali. All right, that's what you think. Why are you guys surprised about the president's speech being leaked? I don't think this one is for this show. Uwem Thomas sent this one in. I can't remember talking about the president's speech being leaked. Good evening, Coco. The governor of the state has said that Almajiris must go to their various states. So anybody that doesn't like it, let the person move together with them. We don't need them here again. Obim sent that one in from Port Harcourt. I really appreciate His Excellency for clearing the streets of Port Harcourt by deporting the Almajiris back to their various states, because these people have filled up the streets of Port Harcourt. Others can call it whatever name they want, but the fact is that Mr. Governor has done perfectly well. Kudos to him. Kelly from Rumunduru. Nigeria has a foundational and fundamental problem, and until that is settled, the country is going nowhere. Thank you, IG from Port Harcourt. Please, Kenneth, I'm gonna look for a way to reach out to you. Greg, I advise the Almajiris to toe the path of honor and return home now that they are still in liberty, because remaining here only amount to compounding the burdens of Rivers people. He who does not have the capacity to cater for a child should learn to tie his manhood for national peace. Eleonu Ndidi. All right, this one says, good day, Coco. You need to see how those children grab someone's hand while trying to get money in. It is so annoying, but they should help out. When going back. Meshach sent that one in. I'm John. I support the deportation because should one person among them get it, you know that all of them will get it because they will never go for checkup. And the Murik professor should be ashamed of himself. A professor talking like a stark illiterate. He is just pushing for a jihad. That's what John thinks. Good evening, Coco. It is sad and unfortunate that everything about the core North speaks volume of backwardness, arrogance, and religious extremism. At the outset, they never agreed to shut down and take preventive steps towards stemming the COVID-19, according to the position unanimously taken by the northern governors. Now that the pandemic is ravaging Kano, a group there is interpreting it as an anti-Muslim onslaught. What a pity. The North has always represented an undesirable load in our collective wheel of progress. The Almajiris need to be deported because they constitute a risk factor. Being grossly uneducated, they know nothing about hygiene or social distancing. You didn't state your name or where you sent that one in from. Please, Wike should open road for people that want to go to their states to be able to go. James from Port Harcourt. Who are the Almajiris? How can the government of Rivers State identify the Almajiris? Pastor Chidi sent that one in. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Greg. I advise Kano Emirate to return back the former Emir Sanusi, period. Zubi sent that one in from Port Harcourt. Good evening, Coco. If the government of Rivers State wants to deport the beggars, they should do and fast about it. Do we have any South person that is begging over there in the North? I beg, make them go back to their various states. Those beggars you see on the street are rich. Stanley sent that one in from Port Harcourt. This one says, good evening, Greg. Please, Mr. Isaac. Okay, this one is about my caller, and I've appealed several times. Just your opinion, your personal opinion is all I want on the show. Okay, forget about what some other caller or some other contributor on the show said. All right, Almajiris have well-constructed schools. They should go back to school and be educated to be resourceful. AZ sent that one in from Port Harcourt. Good job, Greg. The Almajiri of Muslims' faith is totally against humanity. It is wickedness of the first degree. I attended Federal Poly Bida. Those children suffered all manner of abuse. They are sent on dirty errands. So there's a 99% assurance that these children would end up suicide bombers. Apart from the case of COVID-19, the Almajiris need to be deported to their parents. Okay, the free worshipper sent that one in from Igbelu in Port Harcourt. Good evening, Coco. My name is Gift Anyanwu from Eche. I am going crazy over the action of the government. Our political leaders are experts in shedding crocodile tears. There is an epidemic outbreak in the state, and it has scared us to death. The government should be compassionate and always help a lame dog over a stile. Is the government playing hide and seek? Gift Anyanwu sent that one in from Eche. Please do not go crazy, Gift. Try not to go crazy, okay? Try holding it all together. Almajiri system should be reviewed and birth control policy needed in the North. That's what Max thinks. Max sent that one in from Port Harcourt. Sending back the Almajiri is a welcome development. Pastor O.G. Chamberlain from Uzwaha. Wike should also... All right, this one is a very funny one. A very funny one. I'm not going to take that one. I don't see anything wrong with the action of the Rivers State government. My brother Coco, if this COVID-19 gets to these so-called Amajiris, we would be saying otherwise by now. Kelvin sent that one from Mpolu. And then I have this one which says, good evening, I'm Peter from Irebe. Governor Wike should allow the Amajiris if they were here before the COVID-19. And that's all we have on the SMS portals. I'm going to check. From the WhatsApp portals, we have this one, which says Nigeria is lagging in terms of judicial spending and accountability, especially as it relates to palliatives. Until we stop empowering party loyalists in the name of appointment, Nigeria will continue to suffer neglect from the selfish actions of our leaders. AJ Elijah Pascal sent that one in from Rumo Lumeni. And this one says, okay, my brother Coco, what is the economic value in Rivers State? I suppose you're referring to the Almajiris. Coco, you see the sentiment and mentality of an average northerner. Boko Haram can never be defeated. Wisdom sent that one in from Port Harcourt. This one says, good evening, Mr. Greg. Okay, my name is not Greg. My name is Greg. G-R-E-G. Greg, okay? Good evening. The governor has done well by deporting them because they can easily spread COVID-19 due to their ignorance. Though some have refused to go because many of them are in my village now confused. I'm Shedrack from Omwapu or Haji Egbema, local government area in Imo State. Oh, all the way from Imo State. Thank you very much for sending that one in. My brother Coco Greg Almajiri should leave the state tomorrow, point blank. You didn't state your name. You just sent that message. EOK. Good evening, Coco. The governor is right to send back Almajiris, beggars, and street urchins to their states of origin. If you make yourself a beggar or Almajiri, so be it. The Akintola Murik statement on Kano is ridiculous. In actual population, Kano is not more than Lagos, and the fraud election population given to Kano will be probed one day. The next to be eradicated is are those who give away 9-year-old girls for marriage, which make the girls slaves. It should stop because it is a rape of democracy and affront to our constitution. Wike is right. EOK sent that one in from Port Harcourt. I'm just going to take one last phone call and we'll wrap it up right here. Good evening. 95.
Hello, Coco. Good evening.
I greet you.
It's Mike. You see,
Mike, 40 seconds, please.
You see, these people, this not made them tell themselves truth. Are you hearing me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
As the coronavirus outbreak came on board, they start sharing money even to some states. Didn't you know that even if they did not give money to River State, even when when the COVID-19 hasn't come to River State, they should know that the people of River State, maybe we are passing through process of locking down, restriction of movement. The thing we are indirectly affected. But there is not the money to River State government to pay to Lagos and some other place in the north.
All right.
Why can't they use all
right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you for your thoughts. And that's all we have for you on Opinion Poll tonight. Many thanks to each and every one of you who was part of the show. Up next is the World News at 10. My name remains Coco Greg. Keep it house locked right there. Do not move an inch.
Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM. Whether it's happening in Port Harcourt, South Sound, Nigeria, or around the world, we've got you covered. On air, online, delivering balanced news and unbiased analysis. Today, 95.1 FM.
This is Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
A very good evening to you. This is the World News on your Premium Talk Radio. Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. I am Coco Greg. The headlines. President Muhammadu Buhari holds talks with U.S. President Donald Trump as National Assembly approves 850 billion naira loan to cushion Nigeria's failing economy. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike effects arrests of violators of lockdown while monitoring compliance level at Rumumasi. The federal government declares Friday, May 1st, public holiday, and on the foreign scene, 120 prison inmates test positive for coronavirus in Turkey. Now, details. President Muhammadu Buhari has held talks with the United States President Donald Trump via the telephone. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, who made the disclosure in Abuja, said the telephone call was at the request of the U.S. President. The minister said President Buhari intimated President Trump on the nation's efforts to prevent the spread of COVID-19 in Nigeria, while they sent some ventilators to Nigeria as part of the U.S. support for Nigeria in the fight against the virus.
The conversation centered on Nigeria's response to COVID-19 pandemic. President Buhari used the opportunity to brief the American president on the steps Nigeria is taking to contain the spread of the disease. For his part, President Trump assured that the United States stands in solidarity with Nigeria in this difficult time and promised to send ventilators to support the country in its fight against the pandemic. President Trump also extends his best regards to the people of Nigeria.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Senate has approved President Muhammadu Buhari's request to secure a fresh loan of 850 billion naira to fund some projects in the 2020 budget. The request was contained in a letter sent to the Senate and read by the Senate President Ahmed Lawan during plenary. According to the letter, President Buhari seeks to raise the loan from the domestic capital market to ensure adequate funds to finance projects in the budget. After the letter was read, the lawmakers gave accelerated approval to the president's request to raise the loan. They also asked the Senate committees on Finance and Appropriation to liaise with the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, to get more details on the loan request. Similarly, the House of Representatives has resolved to investigate the legality of Chinese nationals living in Nigeria for possible repatriation back to their country. They made the resolution at a resumed plenary following their return from recess, which lasted about 5 weeks. This followed the poor treatment of Nigerians in China, especially those living in Guangzhou City in the Asian country. During the plenary, the lawmakers considered a motion on the maltreatment and institutional acts of racial discrimination against Nigerians living in China by the government of China. The lawmakers mandated the House Committees on Interior, Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring, as well as Commerce to take up the assignment. The committees were asked to investigate the Nigeria Immigration Service, Corporate Affairs Commission, Nigerian Content and Development Monitoring Board, and any other relevant ministry, department, or agency to check the validity of all immigration documents of every Chinese national in Nigeria. The House also directed the committees to probe the expatriate quota of all the Chinese businesses in Nigeria to ascertain the number of illegal and undocumented immigrants in the country and ensure they were repatriated to China to regularize. In the meantime, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control has announced plans to test about 2 million people for COVID-19 in the next 3 months. The Director General of the NCDC